If you're gonna do a partnership with somebody, put some money together and put it in their business account and like give yourself some buffer money.
Coming up on the Melanin Money Show.
I think one of the quickest things that can break up a business partnership is if you got some financial stress or some financial expectations and the business ain't doing what you need it to do. Money's tight. I want 100%. I'm out.
It's ego. That is the killer. And the crazy part is not about the person's individual ego. It's about the people that get in that person's head to spark the ego.
Next to marriage, I would say that business partnership is probably the most significant relationship that you can be in. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show.
Brooklyn, New York edition.
Brooklyn, where Brooklyn at?
Brooklyn, New York edition.
Fresh
man.
off of Jamaica, bro. Jamaica was a vibe.
Our life is a vibe.
Our life is
That's far.
Our life is a vibe, right? Can we take, based upon the time this releases, we probably could tell them how we stumbled upon like today, like everything that happened.
Yeah.
Like, who comes to New York, right? Because we plan to get up anyway.
Yeah.
And stumbles into. End up getting a billboard
On
to
Times
promote
Square.
in Times Square to promote your award show. If that don't tell y'all nothing about making sure y'all need to be in the room, I don't know what is. But yeah, so we in New York.
Also relationships though. Relationships. Because that wasn't cheap.
That wasn't cheap.
And it had to come through a relationship.
And it had to come through a relationship, y'all. So relationships are everything. And speaking of relationships, right? Next to marriage, I would say that business partnership is probably the most significant relationship that you can be in. Right?
I wouldn't know, but I trust your judgment.
And so we actually, while we were in Jamaica, fresh off the boat, we were hungry. We decided to stick around after our team went back to the resort. And he was just like, yo, bro, like, man, this is like, cause I think we had a real life moment. Like, yo, this is a vibe. Like, we're doing everything that we came to do. People are loving it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't mess this up, right?
Really, that's what it came like. We can't mess this up.
Yeah, we can't mess this up. So you brought it up. He's like, yo, bro, like, I've been studying. I've been looking at, everybody else. And it's like, how can we make sure that, like, we don't let what happened to other people happen to us, right? Because there's some scenarios where there are these long-standing partnerships and it works forever. And there's some like, man, how did that happen? Like, man, that was such a great show or such a great business. Like, what happened?
Destiny's Child, the Beatles.
Yeah. And there's only a handful of
Shaq and Kobe, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. Like, how do these great, what should have been lifelong dynasties break up?
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're going to really just in real time, because we didn't go deep that day, right? So today's going to be like an out loud dialogue of some of the things that we're thinking about so that the Melanin Money Show and all of its affiliates can be here for a long time and a great time like we had in Jamaica. So the first thing that came to mind for me, bro, was transparency and goals, right? Like, I think sometimes it's like, because we are, two men, with our own, in our own right, in our own way. And it's like, as the, quote unquote, visionary hat of the company, you as the marketing machine and engine behind a lot of things that we do, right? I could say something that might slightly differ from what you want to do, or one of us could be suppressing one of our goals because, like, well, that doesn't sound like it sounds like this is a bigger priority. So I think one thing that keeps business partnerships together is, like, no matter how many partners you have, everybody has to feel confident that what they want to accomplish is going to happen, right? Because you had a separate business before me. I had a separate business before you. You were doing just fine. I was doing just fine. The whole thing is we're trying to do better together, but not at the expense of you not being able to do what you want to do, right? So I think just being very transparent on, like, well, bro, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Because, like, I think, as men, we've suffered from a lack of communication skills.
Correct.
Right? And just, we feel a way, you just hold it and you can't show it. But then that builds resentment. Like you say, premeditated,
unarticulated
expectations lead to premeditated resentment. So like we had the conversation like, bro, this is what I love to do. This is what I love to do.
Right.
This is what we got to make sure it happens. And it just so happens for the most part with us, things that you love to do, I don't really want a part of, right? You know what I'm saying? And things that I love to do, you okay? Like, yeah, if you want to take that, cool. And I think that was a big part in making sure our relationship happened. We had to have those conversations to know what we want and what we don't want and what has to happen. And the thing is, like, what are the, we all have to make compromises. Like, what is the thing what are the non-compromisables? Right.
Non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Like, what am I not willing to let go? And what, some things you're not willing to let go. And it's funny because, we have these joking conversations like, I love doing challenges.
Right.
Like I love getting in front of a virtual room full of people and tapping in with them for 5 days and giving them a whole bunch of value. And we had to have conversations like, bro, if you say something about a challenge, it puts me on edge. like really, like I talked to my therapist about it. I don't know, when somebody say they don't want to do a challenge, but I'll lose it.
My man will perk up. Like, yo, bro, what's going on?
What's going on? So again, we've had those tough conversations of things that we have to happen, things that we have to continue to do. Again, our award show, right? It's something that you like, bro, I don't care what we do, this has to happen.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's key. And even the evolution, right? Because just like any other relationship, right? We're going to keep growing, right? I think what has helped us, like you said on another podcast, we were on another show recently. And like, reason why we decided to go on business partnerships is like, he's still growing, I'm still growing. So as long as that happens, I think that's okay. I think where relationships do go south is like one person is growing, one person gets complacent, right? We've seen it, right? One person works out and keeps getting better, and then the spouse is like, nah, I'm good, I got you now. Yeah. So it's like, you have to make sure that you're continuing to grow. And as you evolve, like if something changes, have a new conversation, right? And so I think that's key, right? Which I think leads into another important aspect is transparency and just like life, right? Like what's going on, like business and life are symbiotic, but there are realities. Like for example, we first met, I didn't have a kid. Yeah. Right now I have a whole little human. Yeah. Right now I'm responsible for rearing.
Well, shout out to you. You haven't used Legend as an excuse yet. Like when we recorded the other podcast, I was like, yo, like he's had a child, but I can count on one hand, if that many, where you said, bro, I can't do it. I got Legend. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because truth be told, like 100% transparency, Aunt was texting me right about my flight. Like I don't know, like it was late. It was like it went till like midnight yesterday. Yeah, I finally came. I was like, get the this time. I was trying to like between my son was sick. We just got back from an international trip because normally he's in daycare during the work week, right? So when you have a sick toddler who's now with you 24/7, and then on top of that, you're also trying to please your wife because she's out of the country. You want to make sure that she doesn't feel burnt out. And so like you got mentees that you're trying to be there for. You're operating on no sleep for the entire week. Then because he's sick, the plane ride back is a whole thing. I literally was like, bro, I don't know if I can go. And I don't really give myself excuses, but I literally was like, I think he'll understand. I literally had a text message prepared like, bro, and I'm glad I didn't make that decision, obviously. But to your point, like I was there, but I was like, nah, bro, like we got like, this is a home stretch. It's the fourth quarter, literally. I was like, I got to push through. And, I came up, at least I got a haircut. That made me feel better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I came up and I made it happen, bro. But it's like, at the same token, if I had to make that decision, right, knowing that I could come to you and say, bro, like, I wouldn't pull this card if I didn't have to, bro.
I just want to say on air, if you did that, would have been okay.
Yeah.
If you didn't come.
You know what I'm saying? But I know that there will be a time where I could, like, it was one of those, it's like a workout, right? It's like where there might be a time where you're literally sick, got snot running through your nose, you can't go to the gym. And there's other times like, it's been a long ass day and I just don't want to go. Right. And this was one of those moments, it's a long week. Yeah. Right. It's going to be tough, but I knew that I could push through. And I went, but knowing that, but for me, I guess what gave me the okay to push through is knowing that if I had to tell you that I couldn't come, I know that it wouldn't have been an issue. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think God rewarded me by what happened today. Like, you push through,
man. Here's what you get for doing so.
You get, right? Yeah. And so, but being able, outside of that situation, being able to have a partner who understands and is willing to ebbs and flows. I remember it might have been last year. I can't remember what we were doing. It was something important, but it was like right after you had went through a challenge before we partner. He was like, "Yo, bro, I just like I know I was off the grid for a couple of days, but I just needed some time to myself, and that was cool. Like you know what I'm saying. But knowing that you can vocalize that, and I'm like, yo, bro, like business is business. Like get your shit together, bro. Like you know what I'm saying. Like that, I think that's essential because as much as we go hard for what we do, there isn't a business life and a personal life. It's our life. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And a place where you've showed patience with me, two things, right? I think I voiced this to you before. This is real talk, right? Yeah. You were extremely patient when we came to the Melanin Money merger. You were extremely patient, right? Like you watched me do like other things, do collab and stuff like that. But you were extremely patient. You never came like, damn, bro, like you doing that with that person. We supposed to be doing that. It was just like, bro, like I'm gonna let him live. And like, but like when it came to a certain point when we locked in. Right. And I think with that as well, a place that you gave me space to grow was moving to Colombia, right? Yep. Like I said, I was gonna be there for 2 months. It's 9 months in, you know what I'm saying? And I still am loving being out there. And you was like, yeah, man, bro, like as long as we can do our podcast together, as long as it don't affect business, if I was you, I'll be in this, you know what I'm saying? And so that's where you show patience. Is like, yeah, bro, if you want to live the life in Colombia, that's something that makes you happy from a personal life standpoint, I'll let you live as long as we can still keep business the way we keep business. You know what I'm saying?
Big facts, big facts, big facts. Another key one is transparency. And I don't think the way we started hasn't been an issue for us for this one, but I think it could be an issue for most other business owners.
It's probably the number one. If I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, transparency and like financial reality, right? Like where are you really financially, right? Like now, again, we started with two separate businesses, and then when we joined, we had a couple years where that business we weren't relying on each other financially. Like I said, we must be okay. So like that allowed us for that not to be like the elephant in the room. But I think one of the quickest things that can break up a business partnership is if you got some financial stress or some financial expectations and the business ain't doing what you need it to do, or you needed to do more, or just like you feel like you bring more to the table in a certain aspect. And I think that's where the ego comes into play. It's like, well, shoot, money's tight. I think what I'm bringing to the table is more valuable. I want 100%.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think like not being clear about that.
Yeah.
But if that was our reality, I think what could circumvent that is being real. It's like, hey, like for example, take the money away. If we both brought highly valuable, equal but separate skill sets to the table, it's like, yo, bro, hypothetical situation. You know, now I'm a new dad, man. Like I gotta really like, you know, put some money away for this. Or like I can't do as much, I can't contribute as much in this area, but you know, we got these other things coming up. You can take a bigger lion's share of it if you need. But like right now, bro, you know, I'm gonna need to hold it down, right? That potentially could work if there's transparency and there's upfront communication about it, versus it being this unwritten contract and rule cards. Like, yo, we need to spend $50,000 on ads this week, and I'm mad. Like, why would we do that? That's stupid. And I'm giving pushback from a lens
because you also don't want to pull back the curtain and say I don't have the $25,000 to put up for my half of the ad spend.
And I've seen this happen in other parts.
I've seen it happen so many. Like now that you brought it up, I'm like, oh, that's why that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's not funny, but we're so detached from reality financially sometimes,
right?
That like, so I'm thinking back on the time it happened with somebody. I did a collaboration in the past, and somebody was really pushing back on the ad spend, and I'm like,
we really need to spend that money?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? This is what we do, man. I don't think we should do. But now it could have been because he didn't have it, but like now, like I'm thinking about, okay, it makes sense. Okay,
So like if that is, especially in early entrepreneurship, like again, like sometimes y'all both might be starting from a place where this is a new business, right? So it's like just have that conversation, because if you are who they thought you were when they decided to partner, money isn't the only thing. Just like a real relationship, right? It's like money isn't the only driver in why you want to be with your spouse, right? So it's like if you can be transparent, at least give them the opportunity to make an educated decision. Because what you can't do is get into it and now you're leading them blind and them thinking like, oh, your shit is together financially, and it's not. And then now y'all have this weird energy and they don't know what it is because you're not being honest. Right? And that's one thing. Like I told my wife, I was like, look, we have to be real and we have to be honest with each other, because what I'm not going to do is be in arguments and I don't understand the context. Like this, like your response isn't even warranted off of what happened, because what you're doing is rooted in something that you didn't tell me about. Right. And it's the same thing in business. Like, yo, bro, why you blow? Oh, nah, bro, it was really about this. And I've been meaning to tell you for weeks. I need to know up front. So making sure that from a financial perspective, right, y'all are clear on where you are and what that looks like, and give that partner or partners the right and the opportunity to determine if that's okay for them.
Yeah, and I think a way that you circumvent that is what we did, right? Like when we came together, because Melanin Money was your idea.
Yeah.
Right? It's been in your mind for 5+ years. And you came to me like, bro, I really think with your help, we can really blow this thing up together.
Hey, aren't you tired of buying courses in those emotional states when you want to get a result, but then you actually don't do anything with the course? Do you know on average, the completion rate for a course is about 2%? But here's the thing, it's not entirely your fault. The problem is you buy the course, but you don't have access to the source who actually created it.
See, that's why we're doing something different. With the Melanin Millionaire Club, you're not just gonna get access to courses, you'll get access to the people who created it so you can get your questions answered. Because it's not just about learning, it's about taking that information so you can start earning. So the Melanin Millionaire Club is gonna give you access to courses, but not just that, it's an entire university of information. We have financial flicks, we have hundreds of previous recordings, but more than that, y'all, we have an amazing community of people just like you who are trying to become a first generation millionaire. So like GA said, like you can survive without community, but you can't thrive without community. So this is the place you need to be, right?
100%. Because here's the thing. If it was just about information, we'd all be billionaires with six packs. So that's why every single Monday, we're going to set the tone for your week with Melanin Millionaire Mondays, where our entire community is going to meet up. The energy is going to be high. We're going to set the intention for what we're going to execute on so we can move the needle forward, and Carter and I and the rest of our team can keep you accountable.
So that's enough information. You see the rest in the club. All you got to do, click the link below, sign up, and start your journey to your first millionaire year. Let's get it.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. That ain't the only thing you came with. You
Right,
said
right.
with your help plus this financial contribution of this amount of money, because I had to have skin in the game. Right. And so I think that if somebody's gonna if you're gonna do a partnership with somebody, put some money together and put it in the business account. And like give yourself some buffer money, right? So the business don't make money for 5 months. Y'all still pulling the money from the buffer money. Not, hey, bro, we got to put another 5,000 in, bro. We got, hey, did you put that? But where's that Zelle, bro? You talk about the Zelle ain't go through, bro. We need to you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have time for that. So we put in a substantial amount of money into the account up front, saying that if all goes fails, this will go to zero, and guess what? We got to put more money in, right? So that gave us the buffer that we needed, and we have had to put more into it. That's great.
Yep. So I'll be transparent about something that you don't even know. We have.
Yeah. Well,
but
okay.
But the reason why I didn't say anything about it wasn't much. But the reason why I didn't say anything about actually until I took that back. I did tell you when we re-signed the paperwork.
Yeah.
But I never brought it up before then because I was like, number one, I'm so gung-ho in knowing that this is going to work. I'm not tripping off that little money, first and foremost, right? But secondly, it's almost like I didn't necessarily need the money that you were willing to invest, but the fact that you were willing to invest in the first place, like that gave me all the belief in the partnership anyway. So I'm not even tripping off that, right? But yeah, like that's what we did up front. And I think that mitigated a lot of issues.
A lot of issues. It would have been even like, it would have been an issue, but it would have irritated. Hey, bro, we need another 5. We need another 2. Like, we need another 3. Like, just put it in the account, bro. Don't talk to me about it.
And if you can't, maybe like, is this the right time?
Yeah.
Right. This is a big one, at least for me. And maybe it's like entrepreneurial trauma.
And before we go into that, after you make money together, keep a large portion of the money in the account.
Right.
So that you don't be taking draws too early. Like, we just did a big launch and we took our separate, but most of it's in the business because we know it's going to take some reinvesting to get to the next level.
Big facts, right? Because the business it has a tax ID number for a reason. It's a living, breathing, separate thing, right? And if you take here's how I look at it. I glazed over at the team meeting. We planned out our whole year last week, right? And I recently glazed over. I don't know if you caught this, but I try to do it for them more so than for us. I was just doing some general research because I know where our company is going. And I was like, okay, what do the typical CEOs or founders, right, of a $10 million company make? Oh, it's a low 6-figure salary. What do the CEOs of a company valued at $1 billion make? And it was just over like 1.1 million, right? So I was like, where's all the money going? The money's going into reinvesting to continue to grow that machine. That's your biggest asset. As we know, wealth is made through concentration. It's preserved through diversification, right? Yep. Once you make that exit or whatever you decide to do, that's when it's like, okay, boom, put money here, put money here. But in the beginning, it's like, we got to get this thing going. Check how much money Apple has on their balance sheet, right? How much Warren Buffett keeps on his balance sheet. So that's very important. But another one, I think this is probably a really big one, that I think for me at least, because I'll call it entrepreneurial trauma or just like being so used to just doing stuff. Proper delineation and clarity around what it takes to do certain aspects of the business, right? We have a great partnership in the sense that you are world-class at something that you love to do. I'm world-class at something that I enjoy doing. But it doesn't mean because we love to do it that it is not real work behind the scenes, right? And I think in the beginning of our partnership, I felt some sense of obligation, almost like the reciprocity thing, like, damn, like he invested in my dream. Like I gotta pick up the mantle and get all this stuff done and make it happen because like at the end of the day, I'm responsible for making sure that everything that I told my team and my co-founder is gonna happen, right? I feel that sense of obligation. And so sometimes I end up just like doing so much stuff in the name of like, this is what it takes to build it. And I don't always invite you into those realities. Not because I necessarily need you to do something, but so that you might say, hey, well, bro, like, do we need to have a VA do this? Or do we need to hire somebody else to help you out? Or like temporarily? And it's sometimes what it can create is like, yo, does he know that I'm like doing all this stuff to make this happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not intentional, you know what I'm saying? But like, if that's not articulated, that's where that energy could be like, yo, I can't believe I'm doing all this, and he's having a good old time, and blah, blah, blah.
It's like, I don't know if this is the greatest analogy, but like, if you're the breadwinner.
That's actually a perfect analogy.
Yeah, for the house, and your spouse doesn't really know how hard you work or how much money it takes to feed the household. And she's taking the card and going wilding out and shop. It's like, yeah, baby, good, but like, let me show you how much I have to work for this money that we have to have. And we have the kids retire, we have the kids savings, and like, look where all the money's going. And you think that because I'm a millionaire, that means that we can just go wild out. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's important to show, not that I need you to do anything, but I just think it's better that you know.
It's almost like that show Spouse Swap, right? It's like just so you could literally put the person in the other shoes, right? Because like when you're good at something, it looks easy from outside looking in, right? So it's like, right, I know that just when we have these big launches in these campaigns, I know it's not easy, but you're really good at it, so it can look easy, right? Carter, like, he can do the marketing thing. I'll just show up for the challenge or whatever, right? Or vice versa. Like, George loves these events. This is, and I just, but on both sides, right, there's a lot of work, right? So just being clear about that so we know where, how, and when to support, and having that awareness around like, yo, my dog is like going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. When I went to Jamaica, I was like, this is our event? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
but isn't it, this is one key for business partnership, right? Like complementary partnerships, right? Because it's like,
ours, I don't know if we got lucky or whatever, bro, but like, it is like, you love to do the stuff that I just would not care to do. Right? Like, because like, for our mastermind experience, I'm sure you got joy out of, man, we're gonna do this, or I'm gonna kill him with this.
Yeah,
wait till they don't see it. And I'm like, so it's like watching basketball analogy, you know what I'm saying? It's like watching Kobe watching Shaq when he in the zone. Like, bro, is really cold. Like, I'm looking at we had a mastermind, like, bro, is really cold when it comes to cultivating vibes. Like, we got the balloons everywhere, we got the walkway, I'm like, bro, this is did you know this was happening? Yeah, who you think planned it? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's also if it's done right, it's a blessing to watch your partner blossom in their zone of genius. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because speaking of like removal of ego, right? So for our business, if y'all haven't figured it out yet, Carter is the marketing and sales arm, right? So one of the very humbling things that I had to do was like, okay, I know what because here's the biggest mistake people make in business. They think they should stop doing something because they're bad at it. That's one of the reasons, right? Somebody else can do it better. But like, you should stop doing something if there's something that only you can do, right? It's not that I can't do marketing, right? Like, I actually, and I'll never take credit for it, but I gave Carter a spark, not the spark, but a spark.
It was a big spark.
What he's doing now, right?
Spark,
But now that's his thing, because when I saw, I was like, man, in my mind, thinking 10 years ahead, I'm like, if I can't do it, who's the only other person that could do it? And it's him. And he took the ball and he ran with it further than I could ever imagine, right? And so it took a lot of removal of ego for me, because from a public-facing standpoint, in your efforts in doing so, the natural byproduct is that your personal brand is going to exponentially grow, which benefits all of us, right? But it means that I'm no longer pushing at the same clip. I'm still doing some stuff, right? And so now from a public, even though back end is where, we're 50-50 partners, from a public facing standpoint, it's like, dang, like, more people might know who Carter is than George, right? Nothing that Carter says or does or tries to demean my public facing value, but that's a natural byproduct if his role of the company is to make us to be omnipresent, right? Yeah. And so for me, that was something that I had to suppress in terms of like realizing that, hey, this is your zone of genius. This is what you have to do. Only you can do this. And the only way to do that is to let go of something that you actually enjoy, but have a complementary skill set now with a partner who can do it and take y'all to the next level in that lane, right? And that was a big deal, because here's the thing. If I didn't trust you as a partner, what happened is, if we didn't work out, it's like, well, cool. Damn, he got the front end figured out, and now even though I've got this great back end infrastructure, he can still go. Now I gotta get back
in the trenches and be in the front
end. Right? So I had to like ask myself two questions. One, where I ultimately want this to go, which is no less than a 9-figure company, cash, not valuation. Right, the valuation would be higher than that. And then two, do I trust that I can do it with him? And when I can answer those two questions for myself, that's when I felt confident. Because as a businessman, first I was like, hold on now. But that's when I felt confident, like nah, like I this is gonna be the best thing for both of us, right? And so now I'm able to do what I need to do. But without that confidence or without like addressing the ego, right? I could be like, why is George know I got it, right? But why does he feel like he got to keep doing this or doing that? Only reason I would have kept doing that is because of ego. I felt comfortable stepping back because I knew, we would be better in our own respective zones of genius.
Yeah, and I think, like, I remember I told you I was doing all the research of why these partnerships or companies or duos or whatever break up.
Yeah.
It's ego. That is the killer. And the crazy part is, it's not about the person's individual ego. It's about the people that get in that person's head to spark the ego.
Right.
Right? So, like, and it's full transparency. I've had people come to me like, hey, man, like, I see what you got going with George, but like, why don't you just do your own thing? Like, you already, like, just, whatever. And, like, that person probably means me no harm. But they just, that's what they want for themselves and whatever personal gain they might be able to get from that. Because they know, well, one thing, when we do partnerships, that means I don't have any capacity to do partnerships anymore. Right. So it could be because they want to do a partnership in the future, whatever. But, like, it's not the ego thing. It's it might not be ego of the person. It could be the people in their ears. So I know it was people in Kyrie's ear, like, bro, like, you never got the shadow of Bron. Like, you kind of better than him. You hit that without that game 7 shot, bro. And I personally feel like he let that ego get to his head that next summer, because why would you demand a trade off a team that's that good? Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just think, for me, it's something that I've been studying as a man and talk to my therapist about, just making sure, like, because again, when we partner, that means we have to share 50% of everything. Right. That means I'm looking at the checks, like, all right, 50% of this check is going to be split. Right. But it's for a bigger goal. And if I wasn't able to delineate impact from income, then I wouldn't have had the common sense or the suppressive ego to be like, you know what? This is going to be more, we're going to make more money together and have a bigger impact together than anything we can ever do. Because people can only get behind George the investor for so long. People only can get behind Carter the tax guru for so long. They need to get behind a mission and a name. Right. And you were smart enough, I don't know how, to trademark Melanin Money, but you got the name and you built the mission that, as we tell our people that work with us, big enough for me to fit myself inside, let alone be able to fit other people inside as well. So I think that with those few things combined, man, it is a
unstoppable force.
Unstoppable force, right? And I think that what's to come is going to be insane.
Understatement.
Like, insane. Because we planned out, which also showed me we're actual big businesses, not small business. We planned out the entire year. In advance. So that we know what we got going on. We not just going month to month, like, how we gonna make money this month, bro? Like, we kind of have everything ironed out. So, man, it's a pleasure and it's a journey. But if it's done right.
It's done right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always tell myself, I'm gonna be single until, not that I need somebody else, but I'm gonna be single until when I meet somebody, if I feel like my life is amplified with that person.
Right. 1 + 1 = 6.
Yeah. If not, then I'm good, because my soul life is I'm good where I'm at.
And that's how it should be, right? That's, I think, any relationship. And then as a bonus, as we wrap up here, one thing that I would say too is never losing, and this is true of marriage, right? Never losing your identity within the partnership, right? You see marriage all the time. It's like, what happened? Well, I lost myself, right? Or being so consumed by one of the other individuals. So it's like, for example, while Carter knew long-term that he wanted to be just a tax guy, and I knew long-term I didn't want to be just the investing guy, right? We still have tax-free living challenges as a part of what we do, right? As a part of it. So if Melanin Money is a record label, right? Carter can still drop 2 projects a year, right? If I want to drop a Financial Freedom Fastlane challenge, I can do it, right? But we're never losing our identity, right, within the bigger construct, which allows us to, that also, like, for example, like, if you're in a relationship, they say, oh, have your joint account, but then also have your account where you can, do your own thing too, right? So it's the same thing. It's like, but having those conversations so that way no one's confused. Well, I thought it was just, all we were doing is just this.
Sharing our money across the thing. Like,
it's like,
you got something on the side?
Right. But those are conversations you have to be willing to have, that we actually have had. Like, absolutely. We just talked about. It's like, yo, so like, let me know how much extra money outside of this you doing. This is what I'm trying to do. And just have the conversations, right? Because at the end of the day, you more often than not, you want the same thing, right? You might have just had a different approach of how to get there, and y'all just need to be on the same page about where you're going, right? So, 1000%. Hopefully that's helpful for any potential.
That was some entrepreneur therapy for y'all,
for sure. If y'all, because when I lie to y'all now, and I tell y'all, like, we just teed up the conversation on Saturday, a few days ago, as of this recording. And then now we're having it out loud for y'all, so that hopefully, y'all can benefit from it. And if you are thinking about business partnership or in the middle of one, you're like, should I go all the way? Right, you're just dating.
Man,
right
have
now.
some conversations, y'all. It's
You know
just
what I'm saying?
before marriage, sit down and have some real conversations so that you can measure twice
and cut once.
You already know.
And with that, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanin Money Show.
Make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't watch this episode on YouTube, I feel like you should definitely watch it.
Definitely watch it because we back in person.
We back in person, looking fly with the Melanin Money swag on, an amazing studio. So yeah, this is one of them ones. I hope we should be getting a lot of clips from this episode. And
absolutely,
because this is real talk.
Yeah,
okay.
And I hope everybody can benefit from it. But until next time, peace.